Maybe I'm still on it and I didn't know it. No, because it wasn't even up. The host has spotlight your video. Oh yeah. I don't think I just got, excuse me, everyone, I got bewildered by the illusory energy of Zoom. Zoom bewildered me. So give me a moment to get back. I thought I was knocked off. Yeah. So, because I didn't earn an income, because I earned less than a certain income, then the government paid for everything. So sometimes we feel like I'm really unqualified to be a devotee. Like, how can I actually do this? Like, take initiation? Like, who am I? I'm so fallen. And we know, we've heard from Prabhupada many times where he said, well, that becomes your qualification. Fallenness is your qualification. Because in Kali Yuga, nobody's qualified anyway. Kalo Shudra Shambhava. So in terms of actual qualification, there isn't any. So in Kali Yuga, the qualification becomes you don't have any. The more you don't have, the more you're qualified because it's charity to the poor. So, if you ever say, I'm so unqualified, my answer is congratulations. You will be a recipient of mercy. So that is the whole philosophy of Mahaprabhu. So he made a decision. And just like Lord Ram was able to float stones, and when people didn't believe it, Prabhupada said, he created the law of gravity, so he can adjust it as needed. Time, place, circumstance. It's time to float stones. We need to create a bridge. And it's, we're not going to get a whole construction company. We got to get to Lanka like ASAP. So we'll just float the stones. So he can do that. So, sometimes we think, well, why would Mahaprabhu give such a high level of prema to such low people? It doesn't make sense. And the real answer is because his heart was melting with compassion to see people suffering. And he gave Bhagavad Gita, but it didn't work in that particular situation. He gave it and people were like, yeah, whatever. And it just, it wasn't enough. And so the compassionate heart of the Lord decided, well, that didn't work. And it's just getting worse. Kali Yuga is getting worse. So we're going to have to do something we've never done before. So in his heart, he's thinking, why don't we just give Radha the prema that Radha, in the mood of Radha, why don't we just give that to everyone in Kali Yuga? And we're sitting here thinking, why did he do that? This is the reason he did it. Compassion is overflowing. And if it wasn't for that compassion, where we would be right now. We wouldn't be in this Zoom class, I'll tell you that. We wouldn't be getting initiated, right? We would just be out there working like an ass, like everybody else. That's what we'd be doing. So in the pastime of Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya, Gaur Nitai, in the pastime of Gaur Nitai, Nityananda's position is that he is the one who is you could say, the minister of mercy. Like Lord Chaitanya gives him that job. Like, this is what I want to do, but you're going to be the one who does it. You're going to be the one, you're going to be the foot soldier who goes out and gives it to anyone and everyone. I'm just going to speak to the intellectuals and I'm going to dance and chant in the street, but you're going to be the one who goes out. Right? So how does this relate to initiation? Well, what is happening at initiation? What is happening right now? The mercy of Nitai is coming to the initiates. Well, it's coming to all of us all the time, but just to contextualize it within the initiation. The mercy of Nitai is coming to us, unqualified. Lord Chaitanya has disputed him to be the giver of mercy. And Prabhupada then took that mercy and he went all around the world. And I was thinking this morning, it was really interesting, a really interesting thought. And I'm sure you've all thought of this, but I was just going more deeply into this thought that Nitai's mercy is meant for everyone, every town and village, right? And Prabhupada was the only disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta that did it. I mean, just think about that. Like ponder this question. Why? Like what was in his mind and heart that wasn't in the mind and heart of the others that got him on the boat, that didn't get anyone else on the boat until he established ISKCON, and then 10, 20 years later, some of them started coming. Like, why didn't the God Brothers come? It's an interesting question, isn't it? I can give you one answer, and I can give you two answers. This is not meant to minimize anyone who didn't come, but it's meant to glorify Prabhupada. We know Lord Chaitanya's compassion is unlimited, and that unlimited compassion is manifest through Nityananda. So Nityananda personifies the compassion that I will give love of Krishna to anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. You can be the worst of the worst. And there's a song by Narottam Das Thakur about this. Papi tapi. Papi means sinful. That this is for everybody, the most sinful. Nityananda went everywhere to the most sinful. So why did Nityananda go to the most sinful? Because he embodied this feeling like you're suffering without Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu's mercy is everything, and you need it. I want you to have it. It'll make you happy. I'm giving it to you. I can't stand to see that you don't have it. I can't stand to see that you're suffering. Here, take it. What do I have to do? I'll stand on my head. I'll jump up and down. Take it. And he used to go and bow down. People would open the door and he'd bow down and touch their feet. Please take this mercy. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Balaram, is bowing down at people's feet, begging them to take mercy. Meditate on that for a day of Brahma. If that doesn't crack your brain, I don't know what will. That is like amazingly inconceivable, isn't it? God is coming to earth and bowing down and touching people's feet and say, please take the mercy of Mahaprabhu. Wow. Is that amazing? Why is he doing it? Because the compassion in his heart is overwhelming. It's uncontainable. He can't bear the suffering of the conditioned soul. It's too painful. When Prabhupada came to America, right, there was roomfuls of jug-eyes and mud-eyes everywhere he went, right? Boatloads of them. They were otherwise known as hippies. Hundreds, we do Rath Yatra back in the day, and, easily 10, 20,000, people chanting and dancing. 99.9999% of them were hippies. And as Prabhupada said, when he was asked, what is a hippie? He said, something extraordinary. Extraordinarily degraded. Something extraordinarily fallen. So now Prabhupada is coming. His heart is burning. This is my point. Why did he come? Two reasons I can understand. One, the chastity to the order of his guru, because he understood the heart of his guru, and he understood this is what my guru wants. Number one. But that wasn't everything. Number two, his heart was burning with compassion. And because unless your heart is burning with compassion, at that age, you can't fly around the world, 14 times. It's just, you can't. You can't sleep 2 hours a night and translate. It's like physically impossible to do that unless you have so much compassion for people that you can't stop yourself, even up to the point where you're leaving your body and a few hours before or a day before, you're still serving by translating Bhagavatam. That's what's happening. So that same mercy of Nitai it's in Prabhupada's heart, and he's bringing it because he doesn't want to see people suffer, and he's willing to give it to anybody. There's a story which illustrates this. Some of you know this story. It's quite, I don't know. You might think it's funny, but it's actually kind of depressing also. And some of you women might think it's disgusting, because it is. So I believe it was 1976, the GBC had passed a resolution, or had attempted to pass a resolution, that every woman in ISKCON should move to Australia. You know, Australia, where they put all the criminals, right? Yeah, so you were kind of like, you're all Maya Devis, so we don't want to see you. You're making our life really difficult. If you just go to Australia, you know, we don't have to see you, and, you know, life will be happy. Everything will be fine. What do you think Prabhupada thought about that resolution? He wasn't too happy with it, right? Then another resolution: single women living in temples. They realized no single women can live in temples because the cows don't give much milk. If they're not married, they can go out on Sankirtan and they give lots of milk. But once they're married and they have a kid, they have to take care of her. Instead of giving milk, they're drinking milk. They're taking, you know, temple can't afford it. So they passed a resolution. No, you know, it's not really the GBC's decision, but they made that decision. Temple should not support single women with children. And they read that to Prabhupada. And usually when they read the resolution, he would go, you know, acha, okay, next. So they read this resolution, like the Australian resolution. He read this resolution and nothing, no sound, nothing, which indicated he didn't like it, because he would have said, okay. So immediately the devotees understood he didn't like it. So they said, Prabhupada, should we delete this resolution? And Prabhupada didn't say anything. He was just sitting there, his eyes closed, as I remember the story. I wasn't there, but as I remember the story, as I envision it, he's sitting there with his eyes closed, not saying anything for a little bit of time. Could you imagine you're in that room and you bring up that resolution and Prabhupada doesn't say anything and he's just sitting there with his eyes closed, and you're thinking, uh-oh, I don't think he likes this. You know, you're like, we're like the clowns in the room now facing our guru, doing another stupid thing. And so Satsang Maharaj said, so should we remove this resolution? And then Prabhupada said, I just want to give everyone the opportunity to be Krishna conscious. That's Prabhupada's heart. That's his compassion. Like everyone, anytime we see in ISKCON any kind of bias towards anyone, a new bhakta, a devotee from this country, that country, man, woman, that did not exist in Prabhupada's heart. What existed in Prabhupada's heart is everybody. It's for everybody. Everyone gets it. Everyone has an opportunity. So Prabhupada was carrying Nityananda's mercy. And that was what pushed him over the Atlantic Ocean. That pushed him over. And it didn't push anybody else. I find that interesting, don't you? You would think if that was Bhaktisiddhanta's desire, you'd think, well, at least a lot would come and maybe strike out. They couldn't figure out the strategy, or they didn't have the personality to do it. You know what it's like, right? Sometimes, you're just meant to be a pujari, and, you go out and preach and you don't do well. So you would think at least they would have tried, but nobody tried. So now you're getting initiated. What's happening to you? That mercy that trickled down from Mahaprabhu to the heart of Nityananda Prabhu through the disciplic succession into the heart of our founder Acharya, whose heart was so filled with compassion, it pushed that compassion, blew him over to New York, basically. Prabhupada's compassion just, that's what, you could say Prabhupada was riding on a boat. No, he was riding on compassion. Otherwise, he would have never got on the boat, right? That compassion blew him over. And now we are the recipients of that compassion. And if you study Prabhupada's teachings and you study his lectures, there are many times when he's explaining this compassion, but he's explaining it indirectly, not directly. He's not saying it the way I said it, but he would say things like, you are so fortunate, take advantage of this great fortune, don't misuse this opportunity. Many times he would say these things. So what did that mean? You translate that, and what does it mean? Say, this is an impossibility right now. What's happening? That you infidel, you outcast, you malecha, you yavana, you're being initiated into the Gaudiya Sampradaya and given a mantra laden with Krishna prema, at least potentially, that can elevate you to, just by chanting, to realize your relationship with Krishna and eventually get prema. That's like, doesn't happen. That's like amazing. And what I'd like to communicate to all of you today is that what I'm saying here is so important to remember, because if you remember this every day, you will never have a problem in your Krishna consciousness, because you'll always feel, I am so fortunate. What I have, it's never been given before. This is unprecedented. It's ridiculous. It's off the charts. It shouldn't have happened. It's practically illegal. It's like you're getting love of, it should be illegal. Malechas and Yavanas get love of God. They should make it illegal. It's like, and that's how we should feel. Because if you feel that way, then you never take it for granted. And you'll always be in this mood that I am so fortunate. I've been given this mercy and I should take advantage of it if I am smart. And I would like all of you to tell yourself every day, be smart. When you wake up, first thing in the first mantra in the morning, tell yourself, be smart, take Nitai's mercy. Don't neglect his mercy. In the song we sang, Nitai Padakamala Koti Chanda Shushitala. Narottam Das Thakur is saying that if you want love of Radha and Krishna, you can only get it through Nitai. Like he is the gatekeeper. And how do you get that mercy of Nitai? Because Prabhupada many times said, you can't advance in Krishna consciousness. Nothing's possible without his mercy. So how do you get it? What do you do? Prabhupada said, you save the Jagais and Madais like Nitai, and that's how you get his mercy. So of course, if we are participating in this movement's aim is to save the Jagai and Madai. So any service that you're doing is service to everyone in this world, because ISKCON is that movement which is giving its compassion to everyone. So that's how we get Nitai's mercy. And I had a godbrother. It was really funny. As a young devotee, he had connected to Nityananda in a big way, in an amazing way. And when he was on Sankirtan, I would see him and I will do an imitation of him. It was exactly like this. You'd see him on Sankirtan. You know those hats Prabhupada used to wear, like pilot hats, come over the ears. And so imagine, this devotee with this pilot hat out on the street in San Francisco or Berkeley in 1970. Nitai, Nitai, mercy, mercy, Nitai, Nitai, mercy, mercy. You'd see him on the street like every 10 minutes. He had understood as a young devotee the mercy of Nitai. He had understood that was his only hope. I'm not exaggerating. If anything, I'm under exaggerating how he acted. He was a little eccentric. But that's he connected, he understood, without this mercy, I'm nothing. I'm just who I am, but this mercy has made me somebody special. Don't ever forget that. That's the worst thing we could do, is forget that I am a product of mercy. In the early days of the movement, people would come to our movement just like really not in a good state from so much drugs, and kind of sometimes incoherent. The kind of people that, like today, if they wanted to move in the temple and say, I don't think this is the right place for you, you know, and all the brahmacharis, brahmacharinis was like, are you gonna let him stay here? It's understandable, because one person could disrupt the whole ashram. But in those days, we were all kind of weird, so we didn't notice it so much. But we had a name for these people, and the name was Mercy Case. Let him live in the temple. He's a mercy case, you know, like. So we had one god brother, and he was known as Crazy Peter. And he was really eccentric and really crazy. And, you know, you see him, you know, when he was a new devotee, it's like, what's wrong with this guy? You know, like what mental hospital did he escape from? It was like that, you know, many people like, you know, where you coming in from? Bellevue? But it was like mercy case, right? So Bhakti Peter, eventually he became Kusakrata, and he translated the Goswami's books in Sanskrit. You know, he left his body maybe 10 years ago, but he elevated to that point that he was translating, teaching Sanskrit, translating. I have a godbrother, I just saw his picture on the internet, and when he joined, I was there, and we had him clean the prasadam room, and the prasadam room was like 15 yards, 15 meters by, you know, like 12 meters, right? Took him like 3 hours to clean the prasadam room. He'd sweep, and then he'd you know, sweep a little, space out, you know, then you'd have to come and check on him, you know, oh, there's some dirt over there. Oh, okay. Complete space case, right? So maybe like 10 years ago, he took sannyas, he preaches all over the world. You wouldn't know by seeing them now. You'd have no idea. There's no indication. And so I think we just saw Prabhupada's compassion. It was so deep, it was so intense, that when these people came, it's like, I can't ask you to leave. Another story, some of you know, this is probably one of the funniest stories ever. Well, maybe not ever, but the top 10 for me, funny, and I would say insightful. So a devotee joins, and like this other devotee who sweeps, you know, and spaces out, that's how he chanted his rounds. He'd chant a few beads and he would space out. And I saw him. I mean, I was in the temple with him. And he said, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Like that. I mean, I don't want to take all your time up, but it was just, I'm seriously, I'm not exaggerating. That's what it was like. And it took him about 12 hours to finish his rounds. 12 to 14. You know, he couldn't do any service because it took him the whole day to chant his rounds. What to do? What do you do if you're the temple president and you have someone in the temple and their only service is to chant 16 rounds because it takes them all day? You know, maybe you should find an apartment outside. I don't think this is the right place for you. Write a letter to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, what should we do? He said, if it takes him all day to chant his 16 rounds, that's his service. That's all. Just let him chant his rounds. Mercy case. Okay, everybody. Everybody was fine. He's a mercy case. We understand mercy case. Give him a chance. And then, you know, after a while, he was fine. Just like everybody else, you know, chanted his rounds in a few hours. Everything was good. This is how we grew up in ISKCON, with like Nityananda's mercy just pervading our preaching. Like everybody's got a chance. Nobody is too fallen for Krishna. And so my point is, that's what ISKCON is. ISKCON is just a personification, a manifestation of Nitai's mercy. And if that mercy isn't there, we fail, because that's the only reason we're successful. And Prabhupada carried that mercy so perfectly that he was able to convert people who, I don't know who else could convert them but Prabhupada, right? By his compassion. You ever have this experience? If somebody cares for you, you can feel it. And if somebody's trying to cheat you, you can feel it. Right? Go down to Lowy Bazaar. Haribo Mohini, haven't seen you in such a long. Come in, come on. You want limca? What do you want? You want some fruit yet? And Mohini's thinking, uh-oh, he's going to give me the hard sell now. You just know it. Nobody's that friendly. It's obvious, right? I came to the shop last year. I bought like $5 million worth of stuff. He's like, he likes me. He's going to be nice. So when you are delivering the mercy of Nityananda in the mood of Nityananda, people will feel it. They will feel that you are not judging them. You care about them. You want them to be Krishna conscious. They will feel it, and they will come because of that. So this whole movement is based on Nityananda's mercy. This is what it's all about. And Prabhupada, somehow or other, by Krishna's, I don't know, say somehow or other, Prabhupada was that disciple who embodied Nityananda's mercy to such an extent that he could turn the hippies into happies, which was not such an easy job, as you could imagine. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Go Premanandi. Hari Hari. So we have a little more time to talk about Nityananda. What do you think? Good idea. I want to relate a story, a beautiful story. If I relate it really well, maybe I'll make you cry. I'll have to see if there's tears. If there's no tears, then I'll have to go back to practice my storytelling. I never really was like storyteller, acharya, but let's see. So actually, I probably could do it. I figured out how to tell stories. You have to act the parts, right, Ryan? When you tell a story, you have to become the person. Those are the good stories, right? So he said, please don't leave. Yeah, that's okay. I'll try to do it. I don't know how good I'd be, but it's better than just telling it, right? So Nityananda Prabhu. Well, we know Nityananda is Balaram, but then it's like, wait a minute, he's Balaram, but he was born in a different family. He wasn't born the brother. Do you ever think like that? Like, what's going on? Like, Vishwarup is Lord Chaitanya's older brother. And then in Eka Chakra, Nityananda is born of different parents, Hadai Pandit and Padmavati. And Mahaprabhu was born with Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi in Mayapur. And his older brother is Vishwarup. Like what's going on here? Do you ever wonder? So Nityananda is Balaram. We know that. Who's Vishwarup? It's so interesting. Vishwarup is an expansion, Sankarshan. Balaram expands, Sankarshan Aniruddha Pradyumna. Like, so he's Mahasankarshan. He's an expansion, not the full Balaram, he's an expansion. Now, some of you know the story that a sannyasi came to the home of Hadai Pandit and stayed, and Padmavati, the parents of Nitai, and he stayed there. And when he was leaving, he begged some charity. And naturally, grihastas are always happy to give charity. And what charity did he beg for? Who knows? This is very similar to Dasarath, hint, similar to Dasarath And who was it that begged from Dasarath that Ram and Lakshman would come with them? Who was that? Vishwamitra, or was it Vishwamitra?
Yes, Guru Maharaj, I think so.
Yeah. I'm not a Mahabharata specialist, but it was somebody. So Vishwarup is the elder brother of Mahaprabhu, and he leaves to take sannyas. That's why Mother Sachi didn't want, he was associating with the Dvaita, and Mother Sachi didn't want Mahaprabhu Nimai to associate with the Dvaita because she felt it was a Dvaita's fault that Vishwarup took sannyas because he was preaching Bhagavatam. For an Indian woman, for her son to take sannyas, it's like maybe worse than dying. It's worse than death. There was a sannyas ceremony in India. This devotee told me, I wasn't there. He said these young devotees in ISKCON were taking sannyas, and all the women were crying. They're taking sannyas, they're so young, they're like, it's like for an elderly Indian woman, like a young boy takes sannyas. So this sannyasi comes to the house of Hadai Pandit and Padmavati. They stay there. He stays there, everything's nice, and said, can I have some charity? Yes, yes. What did you want? I want your son to go with me. Ah, not mine. He completely lost it, just as Dasarath lost it. Fainted, screaming, like nothing, nothing could be worse than losing Nitai, right? In fact, it was so painful. He had to give Nitai to this sannyasi who was Vishwarup. That's who it was. The sannyasi, isn't this interesting? The sannyasi was Vishwarup. And so he had to give him. And when he left, shortly after, he died out of separation. Dasarath died out of separation. And excuse me, Hadai Pandit, Nitai's father, died out of separation, just as Dasarath died out of separation. And then later, Vishwarup, the sannyasi, died. What happened to him? Vishwarup, who is Sankarshan, he died and he merged into Nitai. That's what happened. Interesting, right? Did you know that? Vishwarup merged into Nitai, yeah. Some behind the scenes information. After with the movie, at the movie, what do they call that? You have the video, the stuff, when you're behind the scenes. Yeah, like, little how they shot the movie and all the times you messed up in the scene and you get to see that. It's called behind the scenes. Bloopers. Yeah, behind the scenes. Yeah. Not a blooper, behind the scenes, yeah. So I want to tell a story about the birthplace of Nityananda. It's such a beautiful story. Nityananda Prabhu took birth in a place called Eka Chakra. Eka means one, chakra means wheel or disc. And Eka Chakra is like 110 miles from Mayapur, something like that. Like a 4-hour drive, 5 hours, 4 hours. Depends how much coffee the bus driver drinks, how fast you get there. Something like that. And it's a beautiful place. Why is it called Eka Chakra? Where did it get that name? The Pandavas were there in Eka Chakra. It's a holy place. A lot of things happened there. So during the Battle of Kurukshetra, you may know this story. During the Battle of Kurukshetra, Duryodhana was frustrated with Bhishma because Bhishma was the most powerful fighter in the world. And he was killing like crazy, but the Pandavas, he didn't kill them. And so Duryodhana says, you're not fighting hard enough because you're not killing the Pandavas. And Bhishma was thinking, nobody can kill the Pandavas. They're Krishna's intimate associates. It's not possible. That's why I'm not trying to kill them. It's impossible. They're protected by Krishna. How can you? Krishna doesn't want them to die. I can't kill them. But Duryodhana didn't understand that because he didn't understand Krishna's position. So he was pressing him. No, 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 you have to kill them. He said, okay, here are 5-hour arrows. I will chant my mantras. Each arrow will kill one of the Pandavas. I will chant the mantra. Because Bhishma just got frustrated with Duryodhana. Okay. You caught me. I can't kill him anyway. But so he said, here are the 5 arrows. And then Duryodhana said, I'll take care of them tonight. So I'm going to make sure nothing happens to them. And while Bhishma was putting his mantras and Shakti in the arrows, he knew that Krishna was going to protect the Pandavas. So he's thinking, I wonder what Krishna is going to do now, because he knows he can't kill them. But that satisfies Bhishma, right? That satisfies Duryodhana. So I have the 5 arrows. Bhishma, I vow to kill them. And he said, unless Krishna interrupts, unless I don't know if he told Duryodhana, maybe he did. He said, unless Krishna breaks his vow to fight, because Krishna vowed I won't fight, unless Krishna breaks his vow to fight, I will kill them. And Bhishma knew Krishna's going to do something. And actually, Bhishma wanted Krishna to break his vow, because for him, that shows if Krishna breaks his vow, then for Bhishma, that's a manifestation of his love. So he actually wanted to see it. He said, I want to see what Krishna will do. If Krishna breaks his vow, my heart will melt, because he's showing me how much he loves his devotee, Arjuna. So Krishna knows everything, so he knew what was going on. So he had to do something. He said, Arjuna, explain the whole situation. He said, Arjuna, remember one time you saved Duryodhana, and Duryodhana said, what do you want? I'll give you anything. And I said, ask later. Don't ask now. He said, now's the time to ask for the favor. So this might sound strange to those of you who don't know, but the battles were like games. They started at a certain time and they ended at a certain time, sunrise to sunset. And after sunset, it was like, you just go sometimes to your opponents and, hang out with them and, like, we'll see you tomorrow after dinner, maybe I'll kill you tomorrow. Maybe you'll kill me. It's like, we don't know. But so Arjuna goes over. Oh, Duryodhana, welcome. Yeah. What can I do for you? They just had such high ethics and codes that they followed. What can I do for you? Said, remember you asked me for a favor? Said, yes. I said, well, what would you like? I said, those 5 arrows. So it's like, Krishna tricked him. Duryodhana must have understood. So Krishna was like Arjuna could not defeat Bhishma. You know why? Arjuna couldn't defeat him. Bhishma is the greatest fighter, but Arjuna actually could defeat him. And Krishna is his chariot driver. Why didn't he defeat him? He's my grandfather. He's my teacher. He's my respectable superior. I can't kill him. So Bhishma is like killing left and right, hundreds of thousands of soldiers all around. He's like, it's like, because he told Duryodhana, he said, today's the day. I will fight with all my strength. And only if Krishna decides to fight, will I not be able to defeat them, even without those arrows. So Bhishma's fighting like crazy, and he's having to, it's like boxing, he's driving the chariot, and the arrows are coming this, and the arrows are coming this way, and he's moving the chariot to miss the arrows. It's like, could you imagine this scene? And there's spectators on the side. Did you know that? It was like spectator sport. They're all watching. So, and Bhishma's thinking, I've got them now. They can't, I'm putting out full force. Nobody can defeat me. And he knows Arjuna is not going to kill me. And Bhishma's thinking, unless Krishna fights, it's not going to happen. And in the midst of this, Arjuna can't do anything. The Pandavas can't do anything. Krishna pulls a wheel off the chariot as a like a disc, and he empowers that to become Sudarshan, and he's chasing to go to the chariot of Bhishma. And Bhishma is so happy. He sees him coming, and Bhishma's like this: shoot, kill me, because he wants to be killed by Krishna. And he's so happy. Krishna got off the chariot, and he's in ecstasy. And here's the really emotional part. Because he promised that he would not fight. Krishna's now going towards Bhishma to fight to protect his devotee, and Arjuna runs after him, and he grabs his legs and he holds on to him so he can't walk. He said, please, don't fight. Don't break your promise, please. He didn't want him to break his promise, and he was holding him so he couldn't fight. And then the sun set, and the fighting was over that day. Hare Krishna. And then Arjuna said, tomorrow I will kill him. I will fight. That scene is what got Arjuna to the point where he would actually fight. And the next day, Bhishma was happy. He was full of arrows. They were Arjuna's arrows, but none different from Krishna's arrows. So what happened to Eka Chakra? This is all about Eka Chakra. What happened? That disc wasn't needed anymore. Krishna flew through it. You got the whole movie going. About 1,500 kilometers he flew it, They've already done this, I'm sure. They've already done this in India, with their like 1950s special effects, and their corny music. Yeah. All right. I think I just got removed. Let me see. I got signed out by somebody. Oh, no, here I am. Yeah. So, and the chakra landed in this place, 1,500 kilometers away from Kurukshetra. And therefore that place is known as Eka Chakra. And that was where Nitai took birth. I mean, there's so many other Leelas, which we don't have time for now, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about the inconceivable Leelas of Krishna and his devotees and the love that they have. Hare Krishna. Wow. When I tell these stories, I always think, I wish I had a few $1 million, maybe not a few, like 20 or 30, and I would buy some land and we would set everything up, and we would just do these Leelas like the right way. Could you imagine watching this? Like Arjuna holding on to Krishna, crying, begging. Oh my God. Everyone in the audience would just be like, there'd be like, you'd have to like have drains for all the water, all the tears that would be flooding the theater. It would be amazing. This love. Krishna is going to protect his devotee. No, don't break your vow. Please don't. And that's what got Arjuna to fight. Wow. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hari Hari Bol. Jai Nitai, Jai Nimai. So we have 5 minutes. I want to read something to you that you will like. This is a song about Nitai, and it's been rendered into English. Would you like to hear it? I'm assuming most of you don't understand Bengali, so sometimes it's nice to hear it in English. What do you think? This has been rendered by Kalakanta Prabhu. And this song is called Nitai Gunamani. When I saw this song, I said, okay, Nitai Gunamani. Should I name somebody Nitai Gunamani? And I decided, no. I could change my mind. I still have a little time to change my mind. Yeah, it's a beautiful name. Guna Mani means the jewel of all qualities. Nitai is the jewel of all qualities. Nitai Guna Mani. So here's how it goes. Nitai Guna Mani Amar. Nitai Guna Mani Aniya. Premia Banya Bashalo Avani. So here's the English. Nitai, my Nitai, of every virtue, you're the pearl. From you, Krishna Prem has flooded all over the world. I'll just read the English, the next line. From Bengal, you emanate these waves of Krishna's love. As devotees drowned in them, the fallen float above. To these cold and wretched souls, you offer Krishna Prem, something even Lord Brahma must struggle to attain. Formerly, this sea of love had no way to get out. Now you cut a channel and it splashes house to house. Lochandas says, anyone not worshiping Nitai trades a chance of blissful life for painful suicide. Nitai Gunamani Amar. That's the name of that song. Would you like to hear one more in English? Ooh. I have something for you. Special gift. You know who that is, don't you? Have you seen this before? This picture? You seen it? Apparently, this is a painting. Nitai was posing for a painting. Apparently. Apparently means if it's not true, you can't sue me. But this is my understanding. Look at that. Hare Krishna. Are you all hankering to get his association? Get his mercy? Give his mercy and you will get his mercy. There's no question. Anything is possible by his mercy. Hare Krishna. Anything. You can do anything by his mercy. Anything spiritual, you can do it by his mercy. And if you don't believe me, test it out today. Test it out. Do something, try to do something impossible today. Well, we have 3 devotees here. They're doing something impossible. They're taking initiation. So try to do something impossible or make a vow to do something impossible, and then call up Nitai and say, Nitai, I made an impossible vow, so I'm depending on you. Please give me your mercy. And you will see in action, Nitai come and help you. And I think that's the best advice I can give you to build your faith in Nitai. Just do it. Hare Krishna. Okay. So I just have to find this song. It was translated by Krishna Dharma. This is a song we sang, Nitai Pada Kamala, Koti Chanda Shushitala. This is the song. So Krishna Dharma Prabhu, who translated Mahabharata and Ramayana, he has released this song. I hope I have permission to, I'm sure he'll love the fact that I'm going to tell it to you. The lotus feet of Lord Nitai, like 10 million moons in the sky, flood this fevered world with cool relief. Without knowing Nitai's mercy, Shyam and Radha we shall not see. Hold firm his feet with firmest belief. He who does not Nitai attain passes his precious life in vain. Beast-like, engrossed in sinful excess, never calling Nitai's pure name, sensual without any shame. His birth and learning are all useless. We push Lord Nitai aside. When we push Lord Nitai aside, maddened with pretension and pride, we take the unreal to be real. By gaining graceful Nitai's grace, we soon see Krishna's smiling face. Grasp hold of Nitai's feet with great zeal. Nitai's feet stand eternally, bestowing immortality. Pray for their shelter perpetually. Narottam is feeling so sad, Nitai, by your grace, make me glad. Bright by your reddish feet, please keep me. Jai Nitai, Hare Krishna. So I think we had some late breaking news last night. I thought I had sent out the invitation to this initiation like 3 or 4 days ago, but it appears I didn't. So I think a lot of you are thinking it's time for japa, but we're doing an initiation now, and the initiation is going to start. Of course, we just gave the initiation lecture, and we will just now talk about the 10 offenses for a minute, and then initiation will start. So you could still chant japa if you want, once the initiation starts, okay? So I would ask the initiates now, I will talk about the 10 offenses very briefly. If you can take Achman, your priest can guide you on how to do Achman. Purify yourself, and I will just talk about the 10 offenses. And then you will get your spiritual name. And Achman is when you take water and you chant mantra into the water. So the mantra goes into the water, and then you sip it, and that purifies your body. So you chant the name of Krishna. It's the original mantra water. I was thinking of starting a company called Mantra Water. You know, we get big vats of water. Hare Krishna, we all chant our japa around it. You know? And we have billboards. Have you had your mantra? Did you drink your mantra today? You know? So anyone who steals that idea, I need 25% return on your company. So this is original mantra water. So we're going to purify ourselves. You say Om Keshavaya Namah, Om Narayana Namah, Om Govindaya Namah each time. And then you take it and you purify your body. So there are 10 offenses to holy name. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, if something so interesting, he said, all offenses are created by inattention. Like, how is that? You know, like, how is that? By inattentively chanting, it becomes the source of all the other offenses. Well, it's really, really interesting, because if you don't chant Hare Krishna properly, if we don't chant Hare Krishna properly, we're not going to become purified. And if we don't become purified, we're going to make all these other offenses. Right? Kind of logical. Right? I'm inattentive. Okay, I'm a conditioned soul. I have so many bad qualities. If I chant the holy name attentively, I become purified. And so all those offenses, I'm not going to make them. I'm not going to commit sin on the strength of chanting. I'm not going to criticize devotees. I'm not going to disrespect my guru. I'm not going to minimize Krishna's position and upgrade the demigods to a position they don't have. I'm not going to do any of that if I chant properly. But if I don't chant properly, there's likelihood I may make some offenses to devotees. I may disrespect my guru at some point. So in listing the 10 offenses, that's the most important one to not make inattention. Like when you're chanting, you give your attention to Krishna. That is your duty when you chant. During that time, your duty is to give attention to Krishna while you chant. Not attention to anything. Anything else in your life, don't give attention to it when you're chanting. That you give attention to when you're not chanting. I'm not saying don't give attention to your life, but when you're chanting, don't give attention to other things, only to your japa. There's nothing else. That's it. That's what it means. And if we do that, we're protected from all the other offenses. So it's almost like, why even try to not commit the other offenses if you're going to commit this offense? Because if you commit this offense, you won't be spiritually strong, because you won't get the pure power of the holy name, because you're making offense. But if you get the pure power of the holy name, then the other offenses you won't make. To disobey, to blaspheme devotees, to think Lord Shiva and demigods are equal to Krishna, to disrespect the devotees, to think chanting is the same as karma kanda, to imagine, to think that the glories of chanting are, somebody made the glories up just to get you to chant. It's not really true. Or it's all the things the Shastra says, it's all exaggerated. The Shastra, the goal of the Shastra is to chant. The seventh offense, to commit sin on the strength of chanting, is like to use the holy name for sense gratification, personal sense gratification. Like you would, if you're a pure devotee, you would never use the holy name for your sense gratification. I'm going to use the holy name so I don't have to suffer my karma. You would never do that. You would never use a holy name for anything other than pure bhakti, right? To disobey the order of the, so what's number 9? Give the holy name to the unfaithful. And 10, not be attentive, to act like you're a body. Number 10 is to think you're the body and act like you're the body, even after chanting. That's basically what it means. So those are the 10 offenses. And I just want to say one more thing. You've all chanted your mantras. Did you chant your mantra, Mahesh and Gerda and Ivaras? You've chanted? Yeah. So when these mantras were chanted for purification, Prabhupada would chant another mantra, Om Pavitra Pavitava. Om Pavitra Pavitava Sarva Vashnam Katopiva Yat Smarane Pundarikaksham Sarva Bhayantara Suchihi. And the significance of this mantra is it kind of summarizes the initiation ceremony, which is that wherever you've come from in your life, whatever you've done, whatever sin you've done, piety or sinful activity, wherever you're coming from, if you chant the name of Krishna, you'll be purified. So that proves that all of you are qualified. All of you outcasts in Lithuania, and all of you outcasts in South Africa, and wherever you may be, all of you outcasts, all of us outcasts in India. Yeah, there's a lot of outcasts in India also, right? You're not born in a pure Brahmin, unless you're born in a pure Brahmin family, and parents did the samskaras, which is rare. And all you Chilean outcasts and Russian outcasts and Londonite outcasts and Floridian outcasts, we're all here together to celebrate the fact that it doesn't matter that we're outcasts, because once you chant the holy name, Sarva Bhayantara Suchihi, you become purified externally, internally. That's it. Hare Krishna. So now it's time for the names, because according to the injunctions of Shastra, maybe I'm not sure if it's Hari Bhakti Vilas, but it describes what initiation means. And one of the things that happens at initiation is you get a nice haircut, but that's not described in Shaiva Dharma, but it just happens. Ivaras got his Sika, a beautiful Sika. He was growing a big Sika all these years. And so now he's got a nice Sika. And, but a name, part of the process is the name should be changed. A spiritual name should be given. So that's what we're going to do. And you're going to make your vows. So why don't we keep it simple? Mahesh is in South Africa, in Cape Town, and he's the only one there. So if you can go to Srila Prabhupada and pay your obeisances, and then you can come back and pay your obeisances to your spiritual master, and then I will give him an avatar of japa beads. What I'm hoping will be created is that you have your beads, there'll be a camera that digitizes them, it goes through the airwaves, and on the other end, they come out. Analog to digital, digital to analog. They do it with music and pictures. Why not with real things? Someday. They're going to do that?
Metaverse. Yeah, metaverse japa.
Yeah, metaverse initiation in all your avatars. And then they'll say, but my avatar made the vows, not me. So, okay, Mahesh. Okay, Mahesh, you want to take your vows? Tell us what you're going to do.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. This is Prabhupada. I vow to follow the 4 regulative principles, which is no meat eating, including fish and eggs, no gambling, no intoxication, and no illicit sex. Guru Maharaj, I vow to chant a minimum of 16 rounds daily.
Yeah, without offense. No. 16 rounds, making an effort not to commit offense.
16 rounds, making an effort not to commit any offenses.
Any rounds, schnick, wam, ram, don't count those. They don't get, your counter beats don't go down when you chant schnick, schnick, ram, ram, and you're distracted. Don't count distracted rounds because it's not helping you, right? Okay, so Mahesh, Mahesh means Lord Shiva. Of course, it could mean Krishna, but Lord Shiva is a devotee, so it's a nice name, and I could call you Maheshwar or something like that, but that's like, you'd be like, I already have that name. So, right? Yeah. It's like just add VARA to your name, and it's like, oh, that's all. He'll go home crying. So I decided not to do that. Yeah, and so Mahesh, he likes to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna in Kirtan, Hare Ram. Mahesh likes to chant the Maha Mantra, right? Is that true? You like to chant the mantra? He does Kirtan. Mahesh likes to chant the Maha Mantra, hint, hint. Mahesh likes to chant the Maha Mantra. He does Kirtan and he chants the Maha Mantra, hint, hint, hint. So Mahesh, okay, here's your digital japa beads. Did you get your beads yet in South Africa? They arrived? Yeah, okay. You have your beads. So I'm going to give you imaginary beads and you're going to accept them. And your name, you guessed it, is Maha Mantra Das. Hare. Okay, now, but we have to explain, you're the servant of the holy name. You're not the enjoyer of the holy name. You don't chant Hare Krishna to enjoy it, you chant to serve. And part of serving the holy name means to distribute it, to give it to other people, right? To share it. So if I'm Maha Mantra Das, I'm going to share the Maha Mantra. And when you can tell people, my name is Maha, well, you have to pronounce it properly. It's a proper pronunciation. It's Maha Mantra. My name is Maha Mantra Das. And that means one who shares the Maha Mantra. And so I will, as my service to my Guru, I will share the Maha Mantra. And I have a story for you. We were doing a japa retreat in New York, and Krishnadas lived near there, or was visiting there, and Sachinandan Swami was friends with Krishnadas. So he invited him to come. So towards the end, Krishnadas came and he ended up sitting next to me, or I went to sit next to him, so I wanted to ask him a question. And I said, in America, the Hare Krishna movement, the Hare Krishna mantra, it comes with some little bit of stigmatized a little bit. Hare Krishnas are religious fanatics, or anyone who shaves their head and wears a bedsheet in public must really be weird. So once someone was joking and said, this guy's just joking with the devotees. He sees the Harinam and he says, how come the bed sheets? And the devotee says, the blankets were dirty. So, like New York, humor. So I said to him, the Hare Krishna mantra is stigmatized. And I would think, like, if you want to get acceptance, you'd probably not want to chant Hare Krishna mantra because people might think, well, you're just Hare Krishna or whatever in disguise, or like. So I said, why did you do that? Well, I just was interested, just personally interested. And he said, his guru is named Karoli Baba. He said, well, my guru told me to do it, so I just did it. I was never thinking that I was going to become famous or anything, or that's what he told me to do, so I did it. So I like that. People may like Krishnadas, they may not like it, but I like what he said. So you can tell people, like, why always Maha Mantra Das? Why always chanting the Maha Mantra? Oh, my guru told me to chant the Maha Mantra. That's why I do it, right? But here's your other answer, right? If when people say, why do you always chant the Maha Mantra? I say, well, if you're in love with Susan, you don't sing Betty Betty, you sing Susan Susan, right? So, you're in love with Krishna. Why don't you chant Shiva? Well, you're in love with Krishna. I know. I can't stop. I don't know. I can't stop chanting Krishna. I just can't. I tied my tongue up one day, it's still Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. So you can play with people like that. And now you have an excuse because that's your name. Okay. So now we're going to fly over to Lithuania. It's just straight shot up north from South Africa, Cape Town. Just go straight north and boom, you're right there in maybe 3 hours, right? But we're flying at the speed of mind. So ladies first, we'll let Gerda go first.
Ladies.
And Mahesh, you can turn off the volume, or if it's, you can mute yourself if you're not muted. Yeah. So, they are now in a small temple by the Klepada. I always call it Cladopedia because Klepada. Yeah, pada means feet, and the Lithuanian language has a lot of Sanskrit in it. So Klepada. Yeah. So what does clay mean? Lotus, Klepada, lotus feet. Yeah. So there's a commercial in America for a cigarette. It's called Virginia Slims. They're smaller than men's cigarettes, and they advertise it with a woman. And the sign, do they still advertise, or that's not PC anymore? Yeah, yeah. But anyway, they used to, and they'd have this picture of this beautiful woman holding a cigarette. Smoking is kind of not so popular now in America, but it's maybe 20 years ago. And the sign said, "You've come a long way, baby." Because women, like now they're smoking, now they're drinking, and now they're voting, and now you've come a long way. So I kind of think of that when I think of you. You've come a long way, baby. So this is a big day. This is a big day for Gerda, because she wasn't she was doubting, should I do it? Should I become initiated? And everyone was saying, Gerda, it's now or never. You don't do it now. When should I jump? Should I jump off the diving board? Maybe tomorrow. No, everyone's saying, just jump now. You're ready to jump. You're not going to be more ready tomorrow. So that was her decision. It's like, I'll do it now. Everybody's do it now. And I encouraged her. So here she is. And I hope you are not having second thoughts now. Okay, so what are you going to do for the rest of your life now?
So I promise to follow 4 regulative principles: no meat eating, no intoxications, no gambling, and no illicit sex. And also promise to chant at least 16 good japa rounds.
And I'm empowering your husband that if she's not chanting good rounds, tell her.
Okay.
Service to bother her if she's not chanting good rounds. And your service is to bother him if he's not chanting good rounds. All right. So I decided to give you a special name. It would have been better to give you, well, not really. No, this doesn't directly have anything to do with Nitai, although everything directly does. But I don't want to limit myself just to names, Nitai names. And of course, Mahamantra is not directly Nitai name. But I thought a good name for you would be Gaurangi Devidasi. And here's your digital bead. So Gora, of course, means gold. Angi means limbs. So Gaurangi, Gauranga, that's Mahaprabhu. But Gaurangi is Radharani, one who has golden limbs. And Gaurangi went in the body of Gauranga, Gaurangi went into the body of Krishna, who then became Gauranga. His gold is her gold, because she's gold. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari. So you are the servant of Radharani, the golden one. And hopefully you will also become golden by serving her. Hare Krishna. Gaurangi Devi Dasi ki jai. Jai. Gabriella, I was thinking of giving you that name, but I have a better name for you. We just have to figure out how to give it to you. Her name also starts with G. Yeah. Actually, yeah. So many beautiful names, right? Lord Chaitanya, Radharani, Krishna, like unlimited. Okay. Okay. Ivarus. Ivarus. Is that how you pronounce it? I make up my own.
Yes.
Ivarus.
Yes.
Ivarus. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Ivarus is very nice. He's been making a lot of advancement in the last few years, and he's become so happy. Just look at him. You don't even need light bulbs in the temple there. You just have Ivarus. The whole place will light up. He's become very happy in Krishna consciousness. He's absorbing a lot of what he's learning, practically applying it. He's become a real nice person. He's become such a nice person that even his wife likes him. You know, that's kind of, that's pretty good. Like, if your wife likes you, that you must be nice. He's become so nice. His wife is very supportive of him, and he's balancing his life very nicely. And he's very enthusiastic to get initiated so he can kind of be the head pujari there, right? Or one of the pujaris and do deity worship. So he's excited because he loves to do deity worship. Okay, so what are you going to do for your initiation? What are the principles?
I will follow 4 principles. It's no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, and no illicit sex. And every day I chant at least 16 rounds without doing the offenses.
Yeah, and no fish and no eggs, just in case.
And no fish, no eggs. Yes.
You gotta make sure, yeah.
Yes.
We have PC Lin here from Taiwan, and when she's initiated, she has to add no insects also to that. No, so, you gotta make sure, because there's always like the back door. Well, I never said I wouldn't eat insects. She doesn't eat insects. We're just having fun. But just to make sure. Yeah, okay. So, Ivarus and Avatar kind of sound similar, don't they? The Ivarus. So your name is the Ivarus Avatar. No, that's not your name. Kind of the Ivarus Avatar. Okay. Nita. So, and as we said, Ivarus likes deity worship, right? And so Prabhupada describes the deity is the avatar of Krishna in the form of the deity. Worshipable. The deity is called Archa. Archa means the worshipable form of the deity. So sometimes Prabhupada says Archa Vigraha Avatar, Archa Murti Avatar, or sometimes just Archa Avatar. So after deep thinking with a little help from Ivarus, and I got his approval also, we decided that your name is, here's your beads, here's your digital beads, your name is Archa Avatar Das. So Archa Avatar basically means the incarnation of the worshipable form of Krishna, which is, of course, the deity. So he's now all the leaders of Klepada. He has the name, he has the perfect name for a pujari, so you can totally exploit him in deity worship. You could say, if he says no, you can say, you know what your name means, right? Got him. Okay. So thank you all. On behalf of Srila Prabhupada, you are all being connected to the disciplic succession. I am fortunate that I met Prabhupada, and Prabhupada asked that when we feel ready and qualified, we would connect other people. So I feel confident because we're connected to Prabhupada that we can be successful. And as long as I can connect you to Prabhupada, you'll be in good hands. And that is my service to you, to always try to give you what I've understood Prabhupada to teach. And I'm very happy for all of you today. And now we will begin the ceremony in 2 places simultaneously. You can choose which one you want to enlarge, or you can go back and forth, depending on. And so normally we chant japa at this time, which we can also do now as we watch the ceremony go on. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Glories to the new initiates. And I hope there'll be many more of you in the future making your commitments. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Переговорим с Кришной, у нас добро пока посмотрим программу Санкита, поскольку у нас церемония Алиса.
And japa. Really have to anything else to do.
Hare Rapura Kopi, посмотрим Крисину Гарси. Вену голосу, посмотрим. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha Anadiradi Govinda Sarva Karana Karana Chintamani Prakara Sarva Sukalpa Vriksha Laksha Vritesha Suradhira Dipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrahma Sevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Venupvanantamaralindam Dalaya Taksham Varavatam Shamashitam Buddhasundarangam Kandarpakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Alola Chandra Kalasattva Mananya Vamshim Ratnam Gadam Pranayakeri Kalavilasam Shyamam Tribangalalitam Niyata Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Niti Pashyanti Panti Kalayanti Shiram Jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadujvala Virahasya Govindamadi Purusham Namaham Bhajami Advaitam Ashutam Anadi Manantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabha Madurlabha Atma Bhakto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Pantastu Koti Shatavasara Sampragamyo Vayorathati Manaso Muni Pungavanam Sobyasya Prapadasya Vichintya Tattve Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Eko Vyasaura Chitum Jagadanda Kotim Yachakshunasti Jagadanda Chayaya Tanta Andantarasta Paramanu Chayandarastam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yadbhava Bhavita Diyo Manujashtataiva Samprapya Rupa Mahima Samayana Bhusham Shundarya Eva Nigama Pratitastavanti Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhaditadis Tabhirya Eva Nijarupataya Kaladi Goloka Eva Nivasatya Kilatma Bhutto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santat Sadaiva Vidayeshu Vilokayanti Yashyama Sundara Machintya Gunasvarupa Govindamadi Purusham Namaham Bhajami Ramadi Murti Shukalani Yanena Tishtam Nana Makaromu Maneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramam Pumanyo Govindamadi Purusham tamaham bhajami. Yasya prabhavato jagadanta koti, koti shashesha vasudadhi vibhuti vinam, tad brahmanishkalam anantam ashesha bhutam, govindamadi purusham, tamaham bhajami. Maya hiyasya jagadanta shatani sute, Traigunyatadishayateda vitayamana, Sattva balanti parasattva vishuddha sattvam, Govindamadi purusham, tamaham bhajami. Ananda chimaya rasatmadaya manapsu, Yat praninam pratipalam smaramam bhuketya, Lila yedena bhuvanani jayatya yashram, Govindamadi purusham, tamaham bhajami. Golokanam nimijatam nitale chatasya, Devi mahesha hadithama shuteshu teshu, Te prabhavani jaya vihitasya Govindamadi purusham, tamaham bhajami. Srishti sthiti pralaya sadhana shakti reka, Charyeva yasya bhuvanani vibharti durga, Ishkanurupamati yasya chacheshta tesa, Govindamadi purusham, tamaham bhajami. Kshiram yakadati vikara vishesha yoga, Sanjayate nahi tata prikatasti heto, Yaksambhutam atikatam dasam karya, Govindamadi purusham, tamaham bhajami. Diparchireva hidashantaramabhyudetya, Dipayate vivrita hetu samana dharma, Yasta diveva hisadishnu daya vibhati, Govindamadi purusham, tamaham bhajami. Yakaranarnavajale bhajachisma yoga, Nidramananda jagadanta jaroma kuva, Adhara shakti mavaladya param Govindamadi purusham, tamaham bhajami. Yasya kanishvasita kala vatavalamyam, Jivanti loma vilaja jagadanta naka, Vishnu mahamsa ihayasya kala vishesho, Govindamadi purusham, tamaham bhajami. Vasvanya kansa sakaleshu nijeshu teja, Siyam diya prakatayam atitarvatatra, Brahma yanesha jagatanta rihana karta, Govindamadi purusham, tamaham bhajami. Yatpada palava yugam vandhaya kumbha, Dvande pranama samaye sagadagri raja, Vighnavihantu malamasya jagatrayasya, Govindamadi purusham, tamaham bhajami. Agni mahi gaganamhamtu marotishasya, Kalastatham manasiti jagatrayani, Yasmat bhavanti bhavanti dishanti yancha, Govindamadi purusham, tamaham bhajami. Yachakshuresha sarita sakala brahma, Yacha samasta suramurti rashesha teja, Yasya gyayam samrita kala chakro, Govindamadi purusham, tamaham bhajami. Dharmo kapa panchaya sudaya stavansi, Brahma dikita patagata yasya jiva, Yadata matra vibhava prakata prabhava, Govindamadi purusham, tamaham bhajami. Yastindra gopama kadendra mahosva karma, Bandha murupa phala vajana matamoti, Karmani nirdahati kintu chabhakti bhajam Govindamadi purusham Tamaham bhajami Yam roha kama sakacha pranayani dite Vatsalya moha guru gaura vasevya bhavai Sanjivyatasya sadishimta nuhapurete Govindamadi purusham Tamaham bhajami Shriya Kanta Kantaha Paramapurushaha Kalpataravo Droma Bhumishchintamani Ganamarito Yam Amritam Kata Ganam Nityam Gamamam Ativam Chitriya Saki Chidanandam Jyotish Paramamati Tataswaryam Aticha Sayatra Krishir Shravati Surabhya Sachumanaha Nimeshadhakyo Vavrajati Nahi Yatrapi Samayaha Bhaje Shritadvipam Tamaham Iha Vogo Idiyam Vidantas Peshantaha Shikirala Chakapshitapidaye Om Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Давай гальма куши тона киртана, тейкона, Кришна Кришна, Кришна Om Varunaya Namaha Iha Vaha Vaha Iha Tishta Tishta Iha Sanidhi Sanidhi Iha Samudyasva Samudyasva Iha Samuko Bhava Samuko Bhava Isha Kantaha Varunaya Namaha Om Shanti 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 Om Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Om Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Asya Karmane Punyaham Navato Bhuvantu Om Punyaham Om Punyaham Om Asya Karmana Swasti Bhavatu Bhuvantu Ashman Swasti Om Swasti Om Swasti Om Swasti Om Asya Karmana Riddhi Bhavatu Bhuvantu Om Riddhitam Om Riddhitam Om Riddhitam Swastino Govindaha Swastino Chidanando Swastino Vasudeva Vishnur Jadapso Swastino Narayano Naravai Swastina Brahmana Madhurotama Jadato Swastino Vishwastino Vishweswaraha Swastino Vishwesha Harir Jadato Swastino Vakanyo Haris Swastino Dhanasito Anur Bhagavato Jadato Swasti Swasti Sumandara Shivamaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Sarveshwari Sagato Om Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pasyanti Suraya Deva Chakshuradatam Raghuraso Vishwanaho Yadravakam Sam Sarvate Vishnuria Paramam Padam Om Vaishnava Navadnaye Kava 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 Eka Krishna Krishna Eka Sanidhi Sanidhi Eka Sanidhi Sanidhi Eka Samuko Bhava Samuko Bhava
Om
me padam bujayate namaha swaha Om Namo Bhaktivinodaya Sachitananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupam Bhavarayate Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannathaya Om Vanshakaupatarudyasya Kripa Sindhudeva Cha Patitanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha Om Namo Mahabharanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Gaura Krishna Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Mahatma Prabhu ki Labai palanku šiandien aukoti naujiems gimusiems, prašau, simboliškai kažkiek, kad jie galėtų paaukoti dvasinį mokytoją. Pasveikinkit, palaiminkit, kad jų dvasinis gyvenimas augtų vieną akimirką. Hari, hari, hari.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Gurudev. We are disconnecting.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. Congratulations to the initiates.
Thank you, Gurudev.
Please take advantage of this opportunity you have and share it with others, and you'll be happy. Others will be happy, and you will make your life successful. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Go Premanandi. Hare Hare.
Haribol. Jai.